But what it basically said is that it doesn't matter where you come from in life, all that matters is how far ahead you think. So if you think 5 or 10 years ahead and you're willing to sacrifice, and this turned out to be the word in the research, if you're willing to sacrifice pleasure, TV watching, fun in the present, in order to work and prepare yourself for the future, then you'll have a wonderful future. So people who think long term are the ones who move up faster in the ladder of success. The second type of thinking is called uninformed thinking versus informed thinking. And we'll come back to this later, but uninformed thinking is where we act without enough information. And if we do that, the probability, the consequences are that we'll probably make mistakes. Informed thinking is where we gather all the information in advance before we make our decision. And it requires patience, and it requires discipline, it requires slow thinking, it requires long-term thinking to be an informed thinker. People who rise to the top are people who make the best decisions and get the best results. And they are also people in 50 years of research who take the time to get more information. They keep asking questions, they keep studying, they keep learning. They hire consultants, they ask other people for advice. Sometimes one piece of advice from one person with experience in a particular area can change your thinking completely. So thinking, as Thomas Edison said, thinking is the most important thing that we do, and yet it is the most difficult, which is why most people won't do it. Most people do not do thinking. It's too hard. And thinking requires that you stop the clock, turn off your cell phone, shut off the phone, and spend some time thinking. In psychology, they call it mindfulness. You take some time and you think quietly about a big decision before you make it. Now, the third type of thinking is fast thinking versus slow thinking. Now, fast thinking is what you do when you are driving through traffic. You think fast. You have to think fast or you will be cut off or have an accident. Slow thinking is the thinking that is required when you are engaging in activities that have long-term consequences. When you are thinking about your career, when you're thinking about how to use your time, when you're thinking about your projects, when you're thinking about upgrading your skills, you use slow thinking. When you're thinking about business decisions that take a lot of time and money, then you use slow thinking. So the big mistake they found, this is Nobel Prize winning material, is that people use fast thinking when they should use slow thinking. They don't take enough time to think carefully about things before they do them, and then the consequences turn out to be very negative. The longer that you take to make an important decision, the better the decision will be. The higher quality decision. And Lord Acton once said, when it is not necessary to decide, it is necessary not to decide. In other words, the professor said, buy as much time as you can for a decision. Put it off. If you can put it off for a day, a weekend, a week, a month, put it off. Some of the best decisions that you make will be decisions that you will allow to steep for a while, like water in tea. So remember, anything that is important that has long-term consequences is a candidate for slow thinking.
The rule is that fast decisions are usually wrong decisions. Especially fast decisions involving people or money are usually wrong decisions. So if you're going to make a decision that has long-term consequences, then you have to give it a lot of thought. You have to sort of look at it like a beautiful piece of porcelain. Look at it from every single side and think about it carefully. And the more carefully you think about a decision, the better the quality of that decision will be when you finally make it. How many times have you said, if I just thought about that a little bit more, I wouldn't have done it? Or if I just thought a bit better, or I just taken time to think? Well, superior people, through experience and through painful experience, learn to take their time in making important decisions. So one of the very best ways that you can develop the discipline of clear thinking is to sit in solitude for 30 to 60 minutes when you have a major problem or a major issue in your life. Solitude has been discovered and rediscovered throughout all the history of man as the most powerful of all thinking tools. You see, if you can imagine a bucket of water with silt in it and it's all churned up and you can't see anything, but if you leave the bucket of water to sit for a while, all the silt will drop to the bottom and the water will become perfectly clear. This is what happens for you in solitude. If you sit calmly by yourself with no noise, no distractions, nothing to read, just sit quietly which takes tremendous discipline the first few times you do it, at about 25 or 26 minutes, your mind goes clear. And any problem that you've been working on, the solution just pops into your mind. Any issue that you've been dealing with, the answer just comes to you. It's almost like a miracle. When you practice solitude, you actually activate your superconscious mind and your intuition. And something that you've been having trouble with or wrestling with suddenly becomes clear and you know exactly what to do. Now here's the wonderful thing about solitude. Everybody who practices it will tell you it's incredible. And if you've never done it before, just practice it once. Sometime today, take 25, 30 minutes, take an hour if you can, and just sit quietly by yourself and allow your mind to calm. Sometimes it's called mind calming. And just allow yourself to calm down and think. And the most amazing things will happen. You'll start to make better decisions.